Hi everyone, this is Carol Ann Speaks, the state of our world on Thursday, June 22, 2023. So what is it? Good, bad, or indifferent? All three. Okay, what are some of the things happening out there? Well, let's check. Alright, now, um, a titanic disparity in how the world responds to maritime disasters. Yes, this little submarine that was trying to explore the Titanic, it is now assumed that it has broken up. Everyone there has died. Everyone on it, the five people on it. But so much money was spent to locate it and figure out how to bring it to the surface and save everybody. But then we have people fleeing certain areas in boats. They're not in good shape, or they're just overloaded. And when they sink, nobody cares. There are countries like Greece and Italy that don't want them in on their shores. The European Union doesn't want them, but all these countries, the European Union, Greece and Italy, they all went to Asia and Africa and Latin America to get the riches. So, uh, very strange situation. Um, how people are treated. Very, very sad. Okay. Also, Modi's state visit. Biden embraces Indian leader despite rights crackdown. I don't know. I don't really understand foreign policy or anything like that. But Modi is a Hindu, and his administration, his regime doesn't like the Muslims that live in India, and he's guilty of not just human rights violations, but having um, riots in certain areas against the Muslims. Okay, now, uh, what else? Biden calls the president of China a dictator. U.S. relations and China-U.S. relations in a growing multipolar world. Yes, very complicated. And how artificial intelligence is enabling racism and sexism. Algorithmic Justice League's Joy Bulamwini on meeting with Biden. All right, now, uh, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But the world is in bad shape. But that's the way it is. And uh, have to figure out how to solve the problem. Okay. What are some of the other news items? Nearly 40 asylum seekers drown as ship sinks en route to Canary Islands. Okay, very sad. Israeli drones Israeli drone strikes in the West Bank and Israeli drone strike in the West Bank kills 3 Palestinians. That's very sad. Hold Israel accountable. And Putin claims Ukraine's counteroffensive hits low due to heavy losses. Okay. Hold Russia accountable. Russian court denies pre-trial release to Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. Okay, well, what is he doing in Russia? You have to really be careful of where you go and can't expect another country to bail you out. Okay, more progressives to boycott Indian Prime Minister Modi's speech to the Congress. Good. And Capitol rioter sentenced to 12 plus years in prison for attacking officer with stun gun. Hold him accountable. Hold all the rioters accountable. Okay. House Republicans censure Representative Adam Schiff over Trump Russia claims. Okay. House Speaker McCarthy rejects immediate vote on resolution to impeach Biden. Good. Prosecutors disclose discovery of video showing treatment of Guantanamo prisoner who faced torture. Hold Guantanamo and those who run it accountable. Opponents of Cop City begin gathering signatures for Atlanta ballot referendum. Good. Hope we get rid of Cop City. U.S. regulators approve first ever sales of lab-grown meat. Okay. I'm a vegan, vegetarian. I'm fruits and vegetables, grains. That's my way. And 250 plus groups petitioned Biden administration to drop opposition to youth climate assault. Good, I agree with that. Federal judge strikes down Arkansas ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth. Good, thank you. Settlers attack Palestinian villages after 4 Israelis shot dead in occupied West Bank. Hold everybody accountable. And seems the only ones being held accountable are the Palestinians. These settlers will get away with murder. At least 41 women die inside Honduran prison. That's terrible. Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. We supported their coups and keeping dictators there. Top aide to Bolsonaro of Brazil caught in possession of plans to stage a military coup. Okay, now, that's all right. And also, hang on. Let's look at this. Okay, now, Titan and Adriana are 2 vessels recently lost at sea, 4 days, and 4,000 miles apart. The 5 men who lost their lives on the Titan have been getting wall-to-wall coverage in the media worldwide. Meanwhile, the estimated 700 who died when Adriana sank off the coast of Greece, mostly women and children, have been essentially forgotten. Passengers on the Titan were wealthy. 2 were billionaires. Each had paid $250,000 for the adventure of a lifetime. A deep-sea dive to view the wreckage of the Titanic, the unsinkable passenger liner that sank in 1912 after hitting an iceberg. Those crammed onto the ramshackle Adriana fishing boat were seeking not adventure but refuge from war, poverty, climate change, or any of the many other life-threatening crises that force people to flee their homes with little more than the clothes on their back. They paid human traffickers to ferry them from Libya to Europe. Perhaps the most notable difference between these 2 disasters was how the world responded to them. Governments immediately spent millions mounting a search and rescue operation to find the Titan, submerged somewhere in the North Atlantic, deep below an area twice the size of Connecticut. Media outlets provided continuous coverage, with one launching a countdown clock predicting when the submersible's oxygen would run out. The U.S. Coast Guard and Navy and the Canadian government sent planes and boats to the search area. France and Canada each deployed deep-sea robots. People around the world watched and waited breathlessly. Meanwhile, in Greece, officials knew the exact location of the overcrowded, disabled Adriana. Shocking details are now emerging of its sinking on June 14th. First-hand accounts reported in El País suggest the Greek Coast Guard could have saved the doomed vessel's 400 to 750 passengers, but opted not to. And El País reported the Greek authorities had been aware of the ship's presence since 11 a.m. on June 13th, and in addition to keeping it under surveillance, ordered 2 ships in the area to deliver food and water to those on board. They never activated a rescue operation. Why? Despite the conditions in which the ship was sailing. not even when the ship's engine broke down at 1:40 a.m. Between 2:04 a.m. and 2:19 a.m., the old metal fishing trawler jolted violently and then disappeared right before the eyes of the Greek Coast Guard. It is still not clear what happened, but the sea swallowed everything up. Okay. The Adriana sinking at 2:19 a.m. grimly paralleled that of the Titanic, which sank at 2:20 a.m. Both sank in water over 12,000 feet deep. Most or all of Adriana's roughly 100 survivors were helped not by Greek authorities, but by private yacht that had responded to the distress call. Among the survivors were 47 Syrians, 43 Egyptians, 12 Pakistanis, and 2 Palestinians. All were men as they were traveling above deck on the Adriana. Hundreds of women and children were trapped below deck and went down with the ship. Okay. All right. Now, I am struck by the alarming level of tolerance to serious human rights violations against refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants that has developed across Europe. Dunja Mijatovic, Council of Europe Commissioner for Human Rights, said on June 19th, one day before World Refugee Day, reports on human rights violations are now so frequent that they hardly register in the public consciousness. Mijatovic continued, last week's shipwreck off the Greek coast is yet another reminder that, despite many warnings, the lives of people at sea remain at risk in the face of insufficient rescue capacity and coordination, a lack of safe and legal routes, and solidarity, and the criminalization of NGOs trying to provide life-saving assistance. Elsewhere in Europe, pushbacks at land and sea borders, violence against refugees and migrants, denial of access to asylum, deprivation of humanitarian assistance, and the harassment of refugee rights defenders are widely documented. The International Migration Organization's Missing Migrant Project puts the Mediterranean migrant death toll at over 27,000 since 2014. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights estimates that close to 1,200 have perished so far this year in dangerous sea crossings to Spain, Italy, and Greece. These deaths, about the same number as died on the Titanic, are surely an undercount. Just this week, 39 migrants are believed to have drowned attempting to cross from Morocco to Spain's Canary Islands. As Titan and the Adriana disasters are very different, but both were preventable. All travelers, whether migrants or millionaires, deserve rescue. The global response to the Titan's disappearance should be the model for how we respond to migrant vessels in distress. Knowing the names and the plights of those seeking refuge is what makes the world care. Yes, I totally agree. Compassion is definitely in short supply. Okay, I'd like to sing a song called Danny Boy. A very old song. I don't know who wrote it. I know some of it. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainsides. It's you, must go, and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valleys are hushed and white with snow. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainsides. It's you, must go, and I must bide. Okay, that was Danny Boy, very old song. Thank you for listening. Hope you liked it. Alright, thank you for tuning in this evening of Thursday, June 22, 2023, for Anita Caroline Speaks at a World Hope you'll be back in the future. In the meantime, stay safe, wear a mask, practice social distancing. When a vaccine is available and right for you, I would take it. We had ours. And remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Signing off on Thursday, June 22, 2023. Good night.